I've been watching this amazing TV show, The Bear. It's about a chef that's starting a fine dining high-end restaurant aimed for a Michelin star. And all this journey with his crew. It's a story about human growth. It's about leadership. And I think that it captures really well what I have seen, what happens in kitchens. Actually, this show was recommended to me by a friend, chef. And it was a really good backdrop for my conversation with my guest, René. He's the executive chef for Imperfecto. It's an amazing restaurant. He's an amazingly talented chef. I really enjoyed our conversation, so I recommend it to you. Welcome to the What is Food for You podcast. My name is Daniel Rusek. Which part of Mexico?
Mexico City.
Mexico City. Where did you live?
I started living in La Juarez until the earthquake.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Then I moved close to where the Costco is.
Costco.
Not the one in Polanco, the other one. Close to the Bulls Plaza.
Yes. Around San Pedro de los Pinos?
Around there, correct.
Okay. And Nápoles, probably.
And then finally, I got a very good deal in Polanco.
Nice.
Very nice.
Nice.
Yes.
And that was very close to where you were working.
Very close. I walked to the restaurant.
Nice. So, and how was your experience in the restaurant? Which was the first restaurant?
Puyol.
Puyol.
Yes. I worked the entire time with the same company.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked in Puyol for the first 2 years, and then as the head chef of Eno.
Eno. So, and were you the first head chef of Eno?
Yes.
Oh, then I was at Eno on the first week.
No, I wasn't the first one.
Okay.
No, sorry.
Oh, it was the first time that you were head chef in Eno.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, interesting. So I just started recording a while ago, so it was very easy then. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you is about have you seen The Bear?
Yes.
What do you think about it?
I think if you ask a pilot what he thinks about Top Gun, it's more or less the same.
Okay.
I mean, it's entertaining.
It's entertaining.
For me, I find Top Gun very nice. But it's not what happens.
It's not reality.
Yes, but I understand also that the bear is not intended to be enjoyed by the cooks, honestly.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. What I think it's interesting is that so I've been working with chefs for, 5 years, trying to understand how they think. And also because it's one of these industries in which, because you have I don't think that I know enough that I know the same level of understanding of pilots to, for instance, cooks, right? Because I cook. And then I think that the most people, we think that we know how is it to be a chef and I think that what I like about this show is that it tells you a different story, that there's no way that you as a consumer know what's happening in the back of the house. No, now I know how to call it, back of the house.
Yeah.
So I like that. It's one of the reasons I really enjoyed the show, because I think it's very easy to get cynical about why is having a fancy dinner, why does it make sense? I think it's very easy to get too cynical about it and say like, no, it's overpriced, it's just overpriced food. But when you are because of my experience, all these years working with chefs, trying to understand, I also gotten to appreciate what's behind, and also that even at these costs that we have in places like Washington or Mexico City, it's not that it's an easy business, and it's really highly profitable, right? And there's a lot of work, and there's a lot of attention paid to it. So I don't know. For me, between my experience and the show, I really feel that I have more empathy.
I understand. I think that the people that consume that show, that are not in the restaurant business, and especially not in back of the house, because most of front of the house they enjoy the show. They can develop some empathy to understand why things are the way they are in terms of pricing. However, doesn't need to be that chaotic and that drama. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
should be fun.
Yes, and for instance, with our experience in Jaleo, we have been, I don't know. There was a time that sometimes Andrea goes and she helps peel and devein shrimp, and she just starts gossiping with with people, and because most people in kitchens are also speak Spanish.
Yes.
So for us, it's very easy to fit in and to start making jokes. So that has been a really nice experience, and I think that because people like each other, I think that Jaleo, it's they I don't know, people like each other. They are very friendly with each other, and I think that creates like a support and it allows to diminish the level of chaos. No.
Yes, of course. I mean, in that sense, for example, you don't see that much teamwork in the show.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you work in a kitchen that has a very good team in terms of the way they work together, it's a different environment. So everything is easier. Every moment of tension is way less tense.
Yeah, no, and I can see that also how that relates to teams in general, because I think that the show has a very specific disruption, and most of the drama is around that disruption and that whole drama because of the particulars of the story, right? But I think that also that translates into, for instance, we're a biotech farming company, and every time there's a disruption, that creates stress in the system, in the environment, and you start having dramas that otherwise you wouldn't have. And I think that also that level of understanding about how disruption, how you need to deal with the disruption, and there, sometimes you just cannot do anything about the disruption. Disruption happened, and it's gonna happen. There's gonna be like a period of adaptation. No, have you experienced that kind of disruptions in your?
Yes, as I say, there are moments, and also there are, depending on who the leader is. So if the person who is leading is a person who got all his, we can say bad words?
Yes.
Okay. All his shit together.
Yes.
I mean, he will manage well. But if the person who is a leader, he has a very chaotic life, everything is going to be chaos for them, because they like chaos. It's the way they get through life in chaos. They cannot stand stability. They cannot stand long term goals. They just like to be in the middle of the chaos, fixing things.
Yes.
So even if there is no chaos, they will create some.
Yes, they will provide it.
Yes,
for sure. No, and that has happened to me as well. So and after a very disruptive experience with leadership in the company, I basically learned that one of the most efficient ways to understand what's going to be a person like in a leadership position is just look at their life. If they have and sometimes there are disruptions in our lives, right? So a relative dies, and then the whole family can break apart for a few years, and then there are things that happen to you, and there are some things that you originated, and it's basically a chain of decisions that are completely mistaken, and that leads you to complete chaos. So and right now, I don't know. It sounds. I don't know. It sounds like very traditional. It's like it sounds like something that I would have heard in like where my grandmother used to be from, right? Like very small town. But I think it's like this really like small time wisdom that is readily applicable to very urban and modern situations, like one of these restaurants. It's a very modern thing to happen, right? Like I don't think that I don't know how what was the first fancy restaurant? I don't know how,
of the history, or
I don't know when did we started having fancy restaurants?
I mean, remember before restaurant exists, we were cooking for kings. So
yes,
like luxury was implied in the providing in feeding some other people since the very beginning, before restaurants.
Yeah.
So restaurants start in a small town and was intended to restore the stomach of the people who was crossing
Traveling. Yes.
that town.
That makes sense.
But before that, all the famous cooks were doing that for kings.
Yes.
So luxury has been part of the kitchen since the very beginning.
But also, now that you're saying that, because this relationship between like passing through a town and needing, you don't bring your kitchen with you, so you need somebody to provide that service to you. So there's mobility and restaurateur, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, the highest standard for restaurateur is the Michelin stars. And I was reading about what was the story behind it. And it's also about mobility. These guys, the owners of this thing, and I'm sure you know it by heart, but for the audience, it's like these brothers that had this tire company. They wanted to, because people, I mean, there's the car, but you're from this town, and you would have traveled by donkey or by horse or otherwise walking, and your mobility from your town is very limited. But no, now you have a car, and these guys would like you to use the car so you can basically use the tires and then renew it.
Yeah.
So and they make this guide, the Michelin guide, for, you should look at this cool place here, and if you are living in Bordeaux, maybe you can go to this and this and that. So then people start moving around. And then humans start moving around easier. And then these guys decided to do let's put some restaurants here. This is like on your way. This is a Michelin star for a restaurant that we know it's good, right? The food is good for what they serve, and that's the one star. And then the second star was something like, this is a restaurant that is worthwhile for you to deviate from your path, right? But if you're going from here to there, and you have the possibility to this is a great restaurant because it makes sense. And the third one was, this is a restaurant that
worth a special journey.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yes, of course, yes. And all the reputation of this of the guide, and it's amazing that I still hold that reputation, is because you don't know who is evaluating you. So that is where all matter.
Excellent.
Okay, so you cannot pay extra attention to anyone. You just need to focus on being consistent and on delivering the same product every time. And it's a difficult part. I mean, Chef Enrique Olvera told me that having a restaurant is simple. I mean, it's like receiving people at your home. So you just need to have bathrooms clean, good music, the food almost ready, and smile. Okay.
And smile. What
smile?
Oh, smile. Yes, exactly.
So simple as that. So, but the trouble is that you need to do that multiple times every day.
Every day.
So if you have 18 tables, you need to do that 18 times today. Tomorrow, 25 times, and so on and on. So the having a restaurant is that. The difficult thing is that you need to provide the same thing to each table you have.
What's the hardest part of that?
Well, the consistency, of course, because mistake happens.
The consistency of the food.
Of everything. Can be that we make a mistake with the reservation. We call Mr. and was a miss. We didn't take the code at the beginning. So then during the dinner, they were looking for someone. Or big things that the food came out cold, was overcooked or whatever. Or the server wasn't knowledge about the menu, or he simply just split something in your table. I mean, these things happens.
Yes.
You cannot avoid that happening.
Yes.
Mistakes will happens at the highest level.
So some of the things that you mentioned for me falls into the smiling category, right?
Yes.
Like holding the code and knowing the person's pronouns or whatever. And do you think that that's part of the that sounds harder than clean bathrooms, no?
Well, I mean, this is where all the magic is in this experience. At the end, since you understand that you will make mistakes, you won't try that hard to be perfect. You will achieve that, and that is the name of that is the restaurant name's about. You will seek that, but you understand since the very beginning that is not achievable. So all these tense situations about that series, that show, that the guys are like this in the dining room. I mean, lose it a little bit, you know.
Yes.
You will make mistakes. The magic is when you are able to fix it. You are smart enough and sensitive enough to turn that situation in your favor.
Exactly.
And make that client, maybe they know you made a mistake, but at least if they go home and they are willing to come back, you win.
You're fine. Yes. No, I love that. And I really like the names. And we're talking about so could you please talk a little bit about this restaurant and what's your role?
I'm the executive chef of Imperfecto. We opened this restaurant 3 years ago. I moved to the city to open this restaurant with Chef Enrique. This is a new role that I have now. I opened the restaurant as a head chef. And now I'm as I mentioned, the executive chef and the restaurant director. So now I'm in charge of the restaurant, but in its entirety. So basically all the flowers you see here, I need to check. I'm responsible of everything. It's a new challenge for me. And it's nice.
Nice. So, and what about the concept? Because I really like the name is amazing, and the logo with the E, right? Imperfecto. Could you talk a little bit more about the concept?
Yes. So Imperfecto was intended to be a Greek restaurant. So part of the owners are from Greece. So they build the restaurant, they design the restaurant, and then the pandemic happens. So the project went down, but they have the restaurant already built, almost. When I walk inside the restaurant the first time, I saw the tables, I saw the chairs, the chef table was there, the oven was there, the kitchen was empty. So when that happens, they reach Chef Enrique Limardo. At that moment he was at Seven Reasons, the first restaurant of the group, and that restaurant was doing very, very well. They were named the best new restaurant in the United States in 2019 by the Squire magazine.
Wow!
So they were a big hit.
Where is this?
It's still here in Washington D.C.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes, they at that moment they were in the 14th Street. They moved location recently. They're in City Center now. So due to that, the people who got the Imperfecto at that moment reach out. Enrique and Ezequiel, that are the owners of Seven Reasons. So they team up, they partner, and all the concept of Imperfecto was leaving that Mediterranean soul of the restaurant, but bringing our heritage that is Latin America. So
nice.
We define Imperfecto as a Mediterranean-inspired Latin American food.
Wow. Nice. So I've been thinking about this very interesting challenge that sometimes I see restaurants as a arms race, right? In which everybody's trying to surprise me in some way, right? And giving a different twist to this dish and surprise you with the experience. Do you think that that's a fair description about, probably it's the most shallow aspect of the game? Do you think that's...
Yes, the top of the iceberg. Yes, I mean, especially, restaurants are. I like to always compare, maybe with sports sometimes, because you have all these levels. You have the people who play, the first division, Premier League, but you have football everywhere, correct? The same as a restaurant. So in this street, at least we are 3 restaurants in this block.
Yeah.
So, and we need to exist in different ways. In the corner, you have a place where you grab a coffee and grab a quick breakfast, and then go to work. Imperfecto only opened for dinner, but Imperfecto, of course, got the price range, and is more or less like a business place or a special occasion place.
Yeah.
Correct. So that being said, if you are coming to this restaurant for a special occasion, of course you are expecting something different than you can get in a trattoria.
Yeah.
Correct. Even though if we're making a ravioli, if we're making a pasta, or we're roasting a pork, you expect something special because of since you walk to the restaurant, you feel that is fancy.
Yes.
Correct. The other twist is that when you focus only on that instead of the quality. Our focus is always the quality. When you get what you want to get, this speaks by itself.
Yeah. No, and it's very successful. I was here yesterday. I had dinner. You surprised us with some. The desserts were amazing. We literally said that they were just saying, Mariana and Andrea, that I don't have like 1 inch in my stomach for something else, right? I would have loved to taste the dessert. And I saw one of the tenders, the waitress, bringing spoons, and I said, "You asked for it. Dessert is coming."
There is always second stomach.
Second stomach for dessert.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. No, but the dessert was amazing. That really surprised us. The way that you, in case of our shrimp, which we really wanted to try it your way. It's a completely different way that we usually do it, because this was they said poached.
Gentle poach, yes.
Gentle poach. What is, so it's like, what does that mean?
Quick. So you put it like a brief moment in a boiling water.
Boiling water.
Yes.
Just a little bit.
And then in an ice bath.
Nice, because that was it was a completely different way that I am used to it, right? And I tried my shrimp many times. So this was really nice, and Andrea also mentioned it, that the level of flavors, like for instance, we like our shrimp, like there are like for every, so raw, we serve it like yesterday with the olive oil and just a little bit of salt. Joshua has this dish with, it's like a ceviche in a cone, and one with wasabi. The one with wasabi, it was wasabi and olives. That was really nice. So that's for me, that's the top. And the aguachile, our production manager, if you ever go to our Indianapolis farm, our production manager, Eric, he's from Oaxaca, and he makes the best aguachile.
All right.
And also cooked, so gambas al ajillo, that's the like flagship dish from Jose Andres, but also scampi. A friend of mine, he makes shrimp scampi, and it's great. And then another chef, friend of ours in Mexico City, once made one with the shrimp, and then it was like charcoal with a little bit of lemon. So for me, it was like the top. But now you found this like opportunity in the middle between cooked and uncooked. I really like that.
All right. Amazing. That's always nice to hear.
Yes. This brings me to something else that I wanted to get your to pick your brain about, is the relationship between innovative approaches to kitchen, to the cooking, and traditional. Because I think that for me, the way that I see traditions, and then not only in terms, I think that it's very clear when you talk about culinary traditions, but it's also, I think it can be spoken about in terms of in a very general term. I think that tradition is something that has been selected because it's been like filtered by society, right? By many generations. Like, for instance, mole. Mole is a very weird thing. I don't know who was the inventor of mole. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. But there are like 20 or 30 different ways of making mole. Mole is more like a platform or a way to approach cooking, probably like curry, no? That you have this like template and then there's like family traditions. So that is so the cooking traditional. I think that you cannot go wrong. But what you guys are doing is that you're trying to reach the same level of great food that is tradition, but in a new way, and that's a risky business, no?
Yes, I mean, traditions are evolving more than filter. I think so because, for example, if you think on Peru, tradition in the 70s was that ceviche was sitting in the lemon juice for 2 days. Nowadays, tradition is that they make it a la minute.
Nice.
And I mean, the way we feed ourselves is also all the time evolving. I cannot think on the first guy who saw a rock and could think that there is something inside it, like the oysters. That we were starving, you know.
Yes, exactly. The Peruvian example, I think it's really interesting because I don't know, probably the not living in lemon for too long was probably a lesson from Japanese culture, that they know how to handle that. They have gotten that to a perfection. So, and then the mix between Peruvian and Japanese, which is now one of the like biggest hits, probably came from that. Do you think that was the case?
Yes, because probably when they did that was trying to hide some quality or make it safer to eat.
Yes.
So the same case with the Japanese. When the Japanese, okay, there is a safer way to eat this, but you can still put these flavors in. Aguachiles, I have no that I don't know how it begins. So if you always ate raw shrimp since the very beginning, or is something new as well?
I think in Mazatlan, it's a very traditional, I don't know, but I think that, so Mazatlan, so some of the best aguachiles that I have tried are in Mazatlan. I think it's probably, there's been a while.
Yes.
I don't know how long.
And also, when I start cooking, anything up to golden brown when you were roasting. Okay? After that was born. Until you get to Mexico. But Mexico now has expanded its culture abroad. So there is this chart that is very present in the Mexican culture that is expanding in the rest of the world, at least the north part of the world. I always joke with my friends in Mexico. I said, you are the only people in the world that I know that you burn the food and tastes good.
Yes, we do. We were there was this one member of our team that we were cooking together, and she had not a lot of experience with cooking, and she put the water in the pot, and then she put the pasta, and then she turned on so that the pasta would eventually be in boiling water, and so we laughed, and then so we fixed it. But I was thinking, I think that this is how my grandmother used to make pasta, because it's the only reason that I can explain these noodles like this, like 1 inch thick, right? So yes, I think that we in Mexico are very used to that.
So since everything is evolving, now what I get from the traditions of each country is different. So what you apply is the techniques, the flavors you saw, and of course you liked, and start using in your restaurants. So not necessarily fancier, but always the flavor is present.
Yeah. Like an example that like from yesterday. What would be an example of that?
Well, so your shrimp, we dress it with the chile Torreados mayonnaise. A dressing, because we build the mayonnaise and then we lose it a little bit with the fish stock to make more like a dressing for the shrimp. So that's something that is not the chile Torreados is a tradition, but enhancing that, putting that flavor into a mayonnaise is something also I learned in Mexico already, but then turn that into a dressing is the different thing.
Yeah.
So all that already evolved 3 times, for me, chorizo in the pasta with uni is something that is not like you were walking the street and you say, oh, what if I mix this? It's something that when you make the dish, you try it and then you start making maybe, oh, I think let's try this. And this is more or less how it works.
So it's uni is from Japan,
Yes.
no? Then you have the pasta, which is clearly from Italy, and it was very nice. It's one of these noodles that you just like. They come like this, no? Do you make your own pasta?
Yes.
And also then the chorizo from the Mexican culture.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, I really like that. And that was with the one with asparagus, right?
The other one was the one with asparagus, which is the truffle, the truffle pasta.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, and why did you start? When did you learn that you wanted to be a cook?
Very early, like I think 12 years old, maybe.
Wow. Why?
Because I was enjoying cooking with my grandfather at home. And it was during vacation. My parents went to work, and I get to get with my grandfather the whole vacation. So he started cooking. He played some music. He got always like a small glass of beer in the cooler. So I found it pretty cool.
Nice.
And I enjoy, of course, cooking with him. Then we finished. He take a nap. Everything was surrounded by like good vibe.
Nice.
And I used to like architecture. I think I like it until I went to that part of the high school when you start drawing with that thing. So I didn't like it anymore. So it was easier. So I'm going to cook.
Nice.
And was like that. I didn't even like apply for any university and anything. I just went straight from high school to the culinary school in Caracas and start working right away.
Nice. It's you're playing the game at the highest level, and I think that there is always like an analogy to sports somewhere, right? In which so you must have then tens and probably hundreds of friends that are also in the cooking business, right? And I don't know, what do you think are the, for instance, trattorias and this kind of cooking? I don't know, how are your friends doing?
Depending on what you want to do. I mean, as of now, I love fine dining.
Yeah.
But I know some people that they were doing fine dining for so long, and then when it came the moment, they just got tired of it, and then it started doing more simple things. So I like it. Yeah. I see myself doing this longer, and I think in many different ways. Is that it allowed me to be more creative. Maybe it allowed me to handle more the highest quality product because people will pay for it. So if you go to a trattoria, people have some expectations in pricing.
Yes.
Here, I mean, you can play more with that. And on the business side, which is what I try to learn now, is very interesting because you get to see wine. You start learning what is the best glassware, what is the best silverware, why certain napkins are better than the other ones, the quality of the chairs. So this is where I love fine dining, at least until now. I think you get to deal with the best of the world in every aspect of the restaurant, even with the team.
Yeah.
The people, the young cooks or the experienced cooks as well that are pursuing a career, they will look for restaurants like this, so it will nurture your team.
I really like that, and also I don't know. For instance, it was Tristan, no? That's his name.
Yes.
He's sous chef.
Yes.
So I noticed that engagement, and I think that the kitchens is one of the few also places where these dynamic of mentorship is it's needed, right?
Yes.
You cannot do it any other way, because for you to grow in your career, you must have a couple of people that can take your position at any moment,
Yes.
right? Otherwise, even if you're ready for your next level, you have to keep everything ready for somebody else to
Yes.
fill in the gap.
Yes, correct. That's the way. That's my mentality, and that's it's all about in the way I drive myself and the way I lead the team. I think the most valuable asset in the business is always the team. Is the people who is going to take care of your guest, and the guest is the person who pay the bills
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
So if you take care of your team very well in terms of pay them well, also providing a good environment. When you feed them with the family meal, you provide a good food. You don't provide like whatever.
Yep.
You try to do something like very nurturing, very, very healthy, so that way their level of energy is also better during the shift.
Yep.
And of course in the last step, you teach them every day. Every day, you need to be teaching them,
Yep.
and the mentorship is critical. So you need to mentor every person in your team. Since guys like you, since our vendors, there is a nurturing relationship between us.
Yeah.
Like you teach me about the quality of your shrimp, and now you try what we do with it. So it's a nurturing exchange, correct? And that happens. That need to happen with the team as well.
So, for instance, not everybody wants to work in a place like this, and probably even less people are really cut to deal with the level of performance that you need here. How do you pick people? How do you know that somebody will make the job?
Well, in back of the house is experience. I mean, you have been watching cooks working a long time,
Yeah.
so you can pretty much get a very accurate first impression most of the time. So what I like to do in the interviews is talking, of course, about the experience, but just see how the conversation goes. How is that conversation evolving? How they smile. I mean, they are looking to your eyes. They are forcing themselves to pretend to be someone else to get the job. And the other part is if we like that interview, then the second part is performance. So they come to the restaurant, they work for a couple of hours, service a little bit, and then you see a little bit more. But it's way more important that first interview, because whatever skill you need to develop, and also, of course, you will be nervous during the stage.
Yes.
You don't know even where the pots are.
Yes.
You don't know where to find salt. So of course you are not going to perform in a super high level. But basically, if you know how to not be on the way, you have 50% of the stage already successful.
So what's the difference between your current role and your past role, which was what, head chef?
Yes. Well, it's being the owner of the restaurant, basically.
Okay.
That's the best explanation. So now I'm playing the role of being a restaurant owner, because if we got a party here today, I need to check if the room is ready, if the carpet is nice, if we got enough napkins, if we have enough waters, making sure all these details. If I open the door and the door make a weird sound, so I need to fix it. I need to check how the toilet paper is put in the bathroom.
Yes.
Start looking more in those little details, basically going in through the front door as the owner and watching watching more closely, watching if the lamps are working, if the vents of the AC are clean. My vision now is more wide.
Yeah, and also the economics and
Yes.
the business part.
Yes.
And the head chef. What's the role of the head chef?
The head chef is in charge of the kitchen,
Okay.
of the back of the house, managing, of course, the food cost, making sure the recipes are well built, but also well executed by the prep team and by the service team. They are in charge of controlling cost, food and labor.
Nice, interesting. So how much? I don't know. What's the standard of cost? I guess that in a trattoria, the budget for cost as compared to as part of the price is different than in a fine dining, right?
Yes, that's also depending on ownership. I mean, they set the goals.
Okay.
And I mean, for fine dining normally is 30%, 32, but can be 28, even less than that. It can be 25, can be 22.
Okay.
Depending. So 11 Madison Park, they stopped doing what they were doing. So they're doing vegetables now. So, but they're still charging more or less the same pricing they were charging. So they are investing that money in other things for sure, but the food cost
For sure. went
should
down.
be less, should be way less.
Yeah. Interesting. So, and usually at trattoria, what would be the cost?
Should be around 22%.
Okay. Okay. So fine dining, you invest more on
In the product.
In the product.
Yes.
Trattoria must be cheaper.
Must be cheaper, correct.
Okay.
And you do volume.
You do volume. In a trattoria.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
I mean,
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
more or less.
Yeah. This is interesting. So just to finish this, I don't want to take more of your time. But what interesting for us working with chefs is very interesting because I think that people look up to you to see what's cool, what's good, what does it mean, quality. But also now I think that nowadays more and more people also expect some kind of feedback about what is moral, right? Because one of our main like lines of narrative is observing this relationship with food that we have. And I just had a meeting a couple of hours ago, and the guy said, yes, I always feel when I'm eating, I always feel guilty and I always have fear because I don't know what's gonna happen to me. This is like, I don't know how much chemicals are in this thing, or what needed to happen in order for me to have this, and that creates some kind of anxiety. I think that being more conscious about our food, it's the beginning of the change in conversation. I don't know. How do you see this in general, and how do you relate to this kind of like responsibility?
People is way more conscious with the food they eat, and you see it because they're picking more. They are leaving apart red meats. They're going towards seafood or even vegetarian diet. Of course, there are plenty of shows on television explaining that, and because of the global warming, so people is way more conscious now. Correct. The good thing that is happening with the cooks, with the chefs, is that our voice is important for them. Correct, and that is where the responsibility comes. You're responsible of communicating moral practices.
Yeah.
Correct. And I want to say that it's not only about the product you buy, it's all about the way you behave.
Yeah.
In your normal life. I mean, you the way you are with your team, the way you are with your suppliers, the way you are with your guest.
Yeah.
It's easier to plant a smile in your guest while you are treating your team like bad, like garbage.
Yes.
And then pretend you go out in the news and you are the nicest guy, but it's
Like a psychopath.
all well related.
Yes.
I think there is no way you can be conscious with the product you're putting in your table without the other part. So this thing is already happening. So what is probably the because the local product is need to be with quality as well,
Yeah,
in order
exactly.
to be I mean doable
Yep.
for restaurants. I mean, it doesn't work for me to say I'm buying local, but what about the quality? I mean, there is no local without quality.
Yeah.
And local need to be really local. I mean, here all the avocados come from Mexico, but even in Mexico, all the avocados come from the same part,
Yes.
more or less. So
Yes.
if you are in Mexico City, anyway, your avocados are coming from Michoacan. So they are traveling somehow in plane. They are traveling in truck. So even you are eating more vegetables, there is a footprint behind.
Yeah.
So the picture is way bigger than that.
Yes.
And I think the best way you can do, the best thing you can do is basically this. I mean, you start dealing, you deal more and more with small producers, even though that probably the small producers in countries that United States are going to end up in order to succeed, they will end up dealing with bigger companies to handle their products so that way they can be more profitable.
Yeah.
Because if you're not profitable, you cannot treat your team well.
Yes.
You cannot provide a nice life for the guy who is harvesting your shrimp.
Yes.
So you want him to go on vacation sometimes,
Yes.
to have a nice vacation. So
Yes.
the picture is way bigger than that. There is no sustainability and all these romantic conversations without being profitable.
Yes. And do you think that do you find more vendors nowadays than, let's say, 10 years ago that are part of these trends?
Yes, I think so. Or at least I got, since 10 years ago, I was behind the line. So I didn't deal with the vendors. I mean, now it's my job to look for product,
Nice.
to look for people like you. And I mean, I cannot compare of 10 years ago. Maybe we can ask Chef Enrique,
Yeah.
who is doing the same thing, like with this role longer.
Yes.
But I do think there is way more conscious now. That is for sure.
Nice. Well, thank you very much. This has been a great conversation. Is there anything else you want to touch on?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much, René. It's been really great. I learned a lot. Thank you very
you.
much. And thank you for having us. This is a great restaurant. We'll put the information on our, whenever we publish this.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.